Hey guys, I'm Liv Langdon, the Nutrition and Food Manager at Onnit, and today I'm going to be making one of my favorite summertime treats, Popsicles. I can't remember the last time I had one of these other than being a little girl eating a Flintstone push-up pop, which were delicious, but actually not so good for you. So today I'm putting a healthy spin on one of our favorite childhood memories using in-season fruits, no refined sugars, no dyes, and it's so easy to make. So let's get started. Is the hydrator. This is my favorite one to make when I'm by the pool, laying out with friends. It only has 3 ingredients: berries, coconut water, and Himalayan salt. So I'm just gonna add these in, and I vary a strawberry piece, then I do blackberry, I do raspberry. That's what the prettiest final product looks like. And then what I do is after I fill each mold up with the berries, I'm just gonna fill it up with coconut water. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of pinch of Himalayan salt, top it off, and then put it in the freezer. So this next one that I'm making is so refreshing. It's watermelon, mint, lemon, and Himalayan salt. You don't need any sweetener. The watermelon and the coconut water is already sweet as is. So the first thing I'm gonna do is chop up the watermelon into big cubes. I add the watermelon chunks to the food processor. So then I'm going to squeeze the lemon juice directly into the food processor. Then I'm going to add just a pinch of Himalayan salt, like I said, to bring out the flavor. And then a tiny bit of coconut water. There's already a lot of water in watermelon, so you obviously don't need to really add too much. We're gonna add a little bit to make sure that it can blend. Then we're gonna put the top on, blend this together, and then we're going to be adding that to the molds. Then we're gonna take our fresh mint, rip this up, you can also slice it up if you want, and then add a little bit of the fresh mint to each of the mold. Then what I'm gonna do is take my watermelon mixture, top it off, add the top to each mold, and then stick it back in the freezer. That's it. So this next popsicle may not be the healthiest, but it sure is fun. We're doing a take on the ROSÉ using rosé, a little bit of seltzer water, and some nice summertime peaches. I'm gonna start by slicing up our peaches, which are ripe and sweet and delicious. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do half the mold with rosé. You wanna do a full body berry flavored rosé, and then to that I'm going to be adding a little bit of seltzer water. You need this in order for it to freeze into a popsicle. You can add a little bit of sugar or sweetener to it, but I don't think it needs it just because the peaches are so sweet and so is the rosé. But it's so refreshing when you're by the pool with your girlfriends. This is a perfect treat for you guys. So this next popsicle was my favorite flavor as a child growing up, mint chocolate chip. But this time I'm gonna be using a very special ingredient, avocado. I'm gonna start by chopping up the avocado. I'm gonna wiggle it around with my hand and then just use a spoon to scoop this out into the food processor. So for sweetness, I'm gonna add a little bit of maple syrup. You can add any sweetener you like, but I like the taste of maple syrup, especially with this flavor profile. I'm also going to be adding a peppermint extract for the peppermint flavor to it, just a pinch. And then an unsweetened vanilla almond milk. You wanna make sure if you're using any type of milk, whether it's coconut milk, almond milk, that it's unsweetened. I'm just gonna blend this all together so it gets nice and creamy consistency. And then once it's all combined, then I'm gonna add in my chocolate chips. I use Enjoy Life chocolate chips because they're soy-free, dairy-free, and nut-free. I add those to the food processor at the very end and just do a couple little pulses, but not so that they break up, but fully combined. using a spoon very carefully, add this to the mold. And then once I fill that up to the top, I'm going to be adding the tops and then adding those back into the freezer. So next up, we are doing a version of the Chunky Monkey, a classic Ben & Jerry flavor that we have all grown up to love, but unfortunately is not so good for our waistline. So I'm going to start off with a banana, and I'm just going to slice this up and then add it to the food processor. I'm just going to leave about 1/4 of the banana left over so that I can add slices to the popsicle molds so it looks nice at the finished product. And then next, I'm going to be adding a little bit of canned coconut milk. Then next up, I'm going to be adding Onnit's walnut almond cashew butter, which adds more nutrients versus their roasted counterparts. Next, I'm going to be adding cacao powder and a little bit of monk fruit for sweetness. I'm just going to blend this up and then add it to the molds. So with the 1/4 of the banana that we left from the beginning, I'm just going to slice those up and I'm going to add these to the molds first. And then what I'm going to do is top that with our creamy banana nutty walnutty cacao mixture. Add those both in, top it with our caps, and then put it in the freezer to let that set. So this next popsicle is a caffeinated version of HORCHATA, which is a cinnamon sugary milk. We're going to start off by using an unsweetened vanilla cold brew and add this to the popsicle mold. So the thing is, I like when you do layers, so I want to freeze this before adding the next layer. While that is freezing, we're going to be adding an unsweetened almond milk to a food processor. A blender works perfectly fine too. And then we're going to be doing a little bit of raw honey for a sweetener. Then we're going to be adding a little bit of vanilla extract just for flavor, a dash of ground cinnamon, which is a blood sugar stabilizer. Last but not least, our cinnamon swirl emulsified MCT oil. This has this creamy consistency to it, a light sweetness to it, and adds that cinnamon swirl flavor that we all like. And then we're just going to blend this up and add those to our molds. Then we're going to top it off, put it back in the freezer, and let that sit. It's going to look great afterwards, multi-layer. You're going to love the way it looks and tastes.